Hello there. It's been a while since my last upload. In terms of Broken Arrow, despite lack of content really worth the upload, I've been playing it a lot lately. And this video is kind of a result of me hooked up on Broken Arrow and spending too much time brainstorming about the upcoming Baltic Battalion DLC. DLC is going to be released a lot later than many hoped it will. And in this video, I'll try to uncover content of the DLC by connecting the dots. First, we'll start with what revealed so far, and we'll dive into hidden information, or rather, hidden in plain sight. After that, a brief take on infantry content. Brief in this manner is quote unquote. On infantry content will mark the end of the video. Okay, let's take a look at the Steam page, specifically the description of the DLC content. Keeping the infantry as a separate type of unit, the ground vehicles, helicopters, and airplanes are mentioned. 24 total of non-infantry units, which 18 are new additions to the game, while 6 are mentioned as interoperable. I assume this means these are units we already have in 5 US specs. I believe these are the same base models, which means as a platform we'll have them in the 6th spec, but armament and other modifications will change. We already know 4 of these units. 2 of them are revealed by developers in the Discord, and 2 of them are visible in promotional footage. Yes, M109 is not a 5 version in US specs, but counting it as non-interoperable asset would mean we should do the same with Blackhawk and even M113. And it is a slippery slope where you literally go down rabbit hole. After all, even though US manufactures and assembles these vehicles, every military purchases them has their own designation even without any modifications. Anyway, last two interoperable assets are not revealed anywhere officially, and your guess is better as mine. My guess is a little literalistic to some others. I think these are rather simple units. Humvee and that one Recon Jeep in USMC spec, the IFAW. It has a different designation, but it is no-brainer to have it. All three Baltic nations has total unlisted number of them in different models from the Jeep manufacturer. Latvia and Lithuania has total of more than 200 Humvees too, so that also makes sense. Other possible units are HIMARS and JLTV. While Lithuania has 500 JLTVs, I guess many of them are just lightly armed infantry utility versions. And still Balalaika will save this model for 7th spec for US, which is more likely will be a US Navy or amphibious raiding group spec, considering a Pacific theater will follow it in 2027 with a whole new faction as revealed by the roadmap. Estonia has 6 HIMARS operational, and other 2 Baltic nations ordered some of them. But the spec, 6th spec, is already going to have strong long-range artillery. Having HIMARS ignored in sake of balance is a choice still Balalaika would make. This leaves us with only 18 more non-infantry units to figure out. Lucky for us, the trailers and promotional pictures reveals many of them. And spending some time browsing around inventory pages for Baltic nations after playing Broken Arrow for 500 hours results with pattern recognition. The devil lies in the detail. There is a mention of air tab for the spec, and it's quite obvious there are at least 2 different types of planes in the new spec, not just Albatros. So, this is my full list of new DLC's non-infantry units. Blue and green ones are confirmed, and the purple ones are up for a debate. RSOV is there. It will be a squad car with limited or no troop carry capacity at all, since the second gunner is visible in the pictures. IFAV is there. Probably have options to arm it with Spike, ATGMs, or RBS-70 anti-air missiles. CVRT, assumable, will be only an armored recon instead of APC variants since there are they are too similar with M113. Schmitter version with autocannon is confirmed. I assume this will be the only version we'll get, or it will be a weapons upgrade to Spartan version, which still a recon armor, but armored only with MMG. The fun edition, in my opinion, will be Turkish Otokar Arma 3 6x6. We took a detailed look for it in our Turkish Armored Forces concept for Broken Arrow. Estonia only has them in APC configuration as far as I know, but no reason for it to not have Barbaris slash Booker treatment and have autocannon options as an upgrade. Humvee is there, probably armored with non-US LMGs and MMGs as options, with M2 is still an option. I don't think we'll see it as a tank destroyer with tow missiles, so it's only a infantry transport as an option. Other two APCs are relatively old XA 180 and more modern one Patria 6x6. They look similar, but latter is a complete new design, offering better armor, engine, optional autocannon, and more capacity. IFV side of the spec is going to be savior for US faction. CV90 from Estonia and Vilkas, aka Boxer, from Lithuania will offer firepower against anything that engages infantry formations. Vehicle tab will be only limited to Leopard 2 A8s, in my opinion, and it will be A8 variant only. It will have APS and very potent frontal armor, but that's about it. No A6 or A7 variant for mobile protected firepower duties. This will be your super heavy tank and only that. It's quite possible it will perform similar to SEP V2 but fail to match SEP V3. Support tab is overcrowded at best and huge swing enemies in some aspects. Each nation has their own type of howitzers and developers seems to like add all of them. I wonder if they go ahead and add Archer and Caesar 2 just for the jokes. Bize Hush will or should have Iron Thunder like upgrade that switching runs with precision guided ones. By logic, K9 should have at least some Excalibur rounds to make it a competitive choice. And 109 will be a cheap option. All of these are long range artillery. For mortar, there is a 120mm mortar carrier in M113 chassis. Logistics are handled like truck named Sisu, but the spec might need small split tracks too, so we'll have something from inventory of Baltic nation. Unimog is already a Mistral carrier, so it's not a choice there, as far as I'm concerned. Anti-aircraft is limited to truck-mounted manpads, or the jeep-mounted ones, and NASAMS, according to promotional art, of course. NASAMS is basically SlamRam. It fires the same missile. I don't think they'll perform different from each other. While SlamRam, after the rework, can still shoot at aircraft and getting lucky shots here and there, they are incapable of truly protecting ground units from incoming attack jets, and basically any ballistic missiles. The latest gameplay norms developed into a meta where lacking long-range air defenses or playing without SHORAD that can intercept large volume of cruise missiles are a huge handicap. There is already two specs in US without a Patriots, and combination of these two is frowned upon to play with unless you are in a 5 stack. One of the reasons is this combo relying on the teammates for ground-based long-range air defense. It will be harmful to add a 6th spec with same kind of liability. IRIST launcher on a track chases is a decent way to fix this problem. While it sounds like a stretch to add this kind of addition to the game, it will not be the first time developers take creative freedom. Average discussion about adding Baltics into the game features this kind of units to make the faction competitive enough. Faction turned into a spec for an already existing faction is no exception in this manner. Helicopter tab features Eurocopter Dolphins from Lithuania and Blackhawks from Lithuania and Latvia combined. These two nations have few of those. Normally, these two countries also had Mi-8s, but lack of mention of Russian models or Soviet origin ones, like mention of interoperable assets, makes me question if they are even considered in the first place. Also, the choppers donated to Ukraine to aid their fight against Russian invasion, so Baltic nations no longer have them. Plane tab is going to be small, but not so small as many assumed. Albatros will be a low cost light attack aircraft, and the second aircraft mentioned in the Steam page of the DLC is going to be a cargo transport, in my opinion. I believe this will be a C 27J Spartan, a very agile tactical airlifter in the inventory of Lithuania. Quite funny, US also operates this aircraft as well. I believe they should be a smaller C-130, limiting the cargo capacity around 5 tons and maybe 30 to 35 troops is a balanced take on the transport. IRL, it is more capable, and still Balalaika likes to have IRL capabilities of cargo transports, but I would prefer having less capable transports for cheaper than having basically Ford C-130 with just a different skin. Last but not least is the infantry. It is heavily dependent on the developer's ability to balance realism and the gameplay. Both the squad size and the weaponry will be affected by that. While I was brainstorming about the infantry, like you see in the table, I revisited the Steam page once more. Before I theorized about the vehicles, I always viewed the page in my native language. When I take a closer look at the description, I realized it was not translated perfectly, so I switched to English from the store page. Still, I don't know if the English is a poor translation from French or Russian or something else. But if the English version is not a poor translation, once more, the devil is in the detail, but you got a friend in me. If I'm not tripping and nothing is lost in translation, we have a specception in our hands. Specs within specs, if you call me. It is why I understand from this. For infantry options, the player has to choose between Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania before choosing infantry options. There won't be a large pool of three nations infantry to choose from when deck building, and these three will be a presets. This falls in line with 21 infantry units mentioned. 21 is a huge number, considering the striker has only 4 infantry unit options. For the reference, at first I thought 21 was only possible if it is the total of infantry units versions combined. 9 infantry having CQC range versions and 1 having 3 versions like Green Berets, totaling 21. If we assume the description and our understanding of is correct, that means each Baltic nation's infantry has 7 infantry units and that it is locked behind a subspec. 7 times 3, which is the number of the nations in the Baltic Battalion DLC, totals to 21. In that case, I assume standardized sets for all three nations is three options: sniper teams and fighting recon in recon tab, mechanized rifle teams, anti-tank teams, and manpad teams in the infantry, as well as some kind of anti-infantry option for each. Anti-infantry options are usually engineers, CQC infantry, door kickers, or guys that carry light AT weapons. This these presets cover all of the basic infantry for a sub-spec or a spec without having it to rely on too many infantry too much or having multiple units doing exactly the same thing. Seventh infantry option in a preset is the joker or the flavor for each subspec, representing the aspects mentioned in the Steam page: Estonian tech, Latvian adaptability, and Lithuanian firepower. Tech means advanced small arms, so it will be Special Operation Forces related. When I hear the word adaptability, the troopers from Striker spec visualize in my mind. So trooper style, jack of all trades, master of none units would fit in Latvia since they have a national guard. And firepower is kinda self-explaining. Some heavy-hitting guns or weapon teams are known for firepower characteristics, something along lines of the SSO. That was my breakdown of the vehicles and aircraft of the new DLC and my theory about infantry specialization system mentioned in the store page. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.